Okay, this one is long overdue. I realize I've been doing YouTube all wrong, and it's led me to burnout. This video is going to be a lot different than my other videos. I'm not going to do any walkthroughs or tutorials. It's mainly going to be about how I became an accidental creator. There are some creators that want to be creators, there are others that are accidental. You had something going on, you kind of fell into this world, and for me, I fell in pretty far. So yeah, this video, it's more of that reflection of like how I got here, how I burnt out, how the team really burnt out too, and everything that we're trying to do to make things sustainable in the future, and really what that means for you as far as what you can expect from me on this amazing Linking Your Thinking channel. So hey, I don't expect you to watch all this, but if you are interested in such things, hey, let's get into it. I'm an accidental creator. I'm somebody who was just kind of like backpedaling and then fell backwards into the party and then looked around and said, whoa, what's going on here? I was happily in TV working my way up as a TV editor, and the last show I worked on was Better Call Saul, which is at the top of the game, nominated for I think over 50 Emmys. Like, this was the best show ever. The people on it were super creative and kind. I was in my happy place working on this show. I created a fitness boxing business along with my friend and business partner Garrett Garrels. We co-founded a fitness boxing business that's become international. It's called Pink Gloves Boxing. It's still running today, and I'm really proud of that. And then around 2013, I moved from Montana to New York City. I got involved at HBO and a bunch of different things, and I was a PA. So I was the person who would have to schlep soggy cheeseburgers across town for lunch and grab the producer random coffees and cappuccinos whenever they wanted that. So not the most glamorous thing, but I was finally able to be in an environment much like school where you can just learn. And this time though, I was getting paid to learn. So I was soaking up everything, and then I went up to become a post coordinator, and then I had an opportunity. Do I want to be a post-production coordinator, or do I want to start editing? And I chose the editing track. And next thing you know, I'm working on Breaking Bad the movie, and then Better Call Saul the final season. So this was all happening, and yet with the pandemic, I started sharing content about how to take better notes, how to link notes together, how to make these special things called maps of content that allow us to think better than ever before. And this whole new world opened up, and it was being a creator, being a part of this creator economy. And I just had no clue what I was in for. I had no idea what this creator economy was. And this was in 2020. Fast forward to today, it's middle of 2024, and I've just come back from VidCon in Anaheim, California, outside of Los Angeles. And it's finally 4 years later that I'm understanding the immense, massive, vast creator economy for what it is. Like, I'm just this like tiny little thing over here, and the rest of it's like just everywhere else. And I'm both in it and also not in it. And it's taken me 4 years to realize that I've been doing it all wrong. I've been doing YouTube wrong. I've been doing all this creator stuff wrong. I've been doing a couple things right, because, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. And I think I got a couple things right. I got the weekly newsletter right, and we got our month-long cohorts, our workshops right. But outside of that, YouTube, I have gotten it all wrong, because I'm just trying to kind of promote the stuff that we've been doing in the workshops and all that, as opposed to just having fun, creating cool content that I think might be helpful and be educational for others, seeing what resonates and continuing to share those types of things. So that's what I'm hoping to move towards now. It's been a journey realizing that not only am I an accidental creator, but finally I think I can call myself and embrace myself as a YouTuber. And I started to share this geeky hobby of mine, which was to make notes and link notes together, something I've been doing for years and years. So during the pandemic, we had extra time on our hands. So we started to edit TV shows from home. And so I'd be here editing, but then in my free time, I would be hopping on the forums for this application called Obsidian, and I'd be nerding out on things like knowledge management, how to take and make better notes and link those notes together. And I found this thing that I thought was amazing. Yes, we were just starting to be able to link notes to other notes. and everyone was saying, we don't need folders anymore, we don't need structure anymore, let's throw all that away, and we'll only link a note to another note, and we'll just kind of go through these paths, clicking from one note to another to find anything we want. And I felt that while that was awesome, we still needed another level of structure. And so I shared this thing that I thought was really helpful, which were these mapping notes, maps of content, and that allowed kind of like these hubs that would have links to all these different notes. And instead of just being an index though, these notes really came alive and we could start working with them, and they became this really organic thinking space, a digital garden of sorts. And this was exciting. So I shared a free set of notes, and it was a starter kit, and people could download these notes, and you still can. They've been downloaded, I don't know how many times at this point, but like about 80,000 times. And then when you open them up in an app like Obsidian, you can see all the links, and you're starting from this sandbox of notes that you can figure out what's going on, you can experiment with, and you can find out how it can help you learn better, think better, make better sense of the world, remember things, plan your day, and everything in between. And that's where things kind of get interesting. So at that time, I ran my first cohort, and I just asked people from the online communities, hey, would you want to join this cohort? And 11 people who didn't know me, I wasn't in this industry at all, and they just said, they just took it on faith that I might have had something worth sharing, and so they joined this cohort. And it was an experimental 6-week thing, and it went pretty well. So one of those people, Dan Lardy, is part of our team now, and Dan's like, hey, I think you have something here, I'd love to develop it with you. And so we decided to do our second cohort in October of 2020, and my goal is just to get 12 paying customers, and we ended up getting 55. And I thought, wow, we have something major here. And the lead up to that cohort was a series of YouTube videos. So I think it was September of 2020, we shot our first 6 YouTube videos. How to use Obsidian beginner series. It's now been watched over 2 million times, and even though it's a little out of date, it is still bringing people into the right mindset and ethos about how to approach our notes, how note making and linking notes together can bring us so much meaning and intention into our lives, allowing us to live with more fulfillment in everything that we do. So that was great, but that cohort was so successful, I ran another one in 2021. That one had 110 people, and now we've ran 13 or 14 in total, and now the average is 200 to 300 people per month-long cohort that we run. And while that sounds awesome, I've realized more and more that the cost is I'm not able to communicate to everyone on YouTube and share what I'm excited about. Something happened with all these month-long cohorts. They're intense. So there's not just a month-long cohort of live sessions from a global audience, but there's the campaign leading up to it, talking loudly about that everywhere that's possible. And in the process of all this, I have so much stuff that I want to share with you that I get excited about. But because of the cohort and the demands of like trying to get people over here, all of our attention went there. And what little time we had over here to make YouTube videos, it was only to basically give updates about what's going on over here, or to like say, hey, you might be interested in this stuff, either our cohorts or like the different products that we have. We have a done for you starter kit of linked notes, but we also have a training tool for Obsidian. So we have all these different services and products, and we're so busy doing this stuff and making super amazing experiences that create tons of aha moments and really help people out, but they're for 200 or 300 people at a time. And meanwhile, everybody else here, they only get every now and then a YouTube video. And because we weren't making YouTube videos, we started to kind of repurpose interviews. So tons of you who are subscribed, probably because of something to do with note making, with PKM, personal knowledge management, and likely also with Obsidian. And yet a lot of these videos that we post are random interviews, or also something I like but no one else seems to like, cool video essays on things like the 5-decade rule or note wars. These are videos that you probably haven't watched, but I've been pretty happy about making, except no one's watching them. So we have interviews, we have video essays, and no one cares about these things. And because we're so busy over here delivering cool experiences and making new products, we don't have time to just share really interesting, fun YouTube videos that will hopefully give you something awesome that you can take with you after you watch the video, like immediately. So long story short, so much time in delivery means not enough time sharing and communicating the stuff that really gets me excited. And that's the realization I've come to, that I want to spend way more time just communicating things that I think are great. The advice that I'd give to anyone who's on this creator path, or to my younger self, is really that it is great to be in the lab. It is great to be creating stuff. Oh, I love it, the development of everything. And that's what's spawned off so many awesome products that we now offer. The cohorts, these live workshops have been freaking amazing. And I love the experiences, the interactions, and the aha moments. All that stuff, however, is super high intensity, super demanding, and it's all back of stage, meaning that there's this entire world over here, this entire ecosystem of YouTube and all these different platforms. Endless people and relationships that we can build, but we just create this wall and say, nope, only those of you who can make it over here, about 200 to 300 at a time, can get all this experience. And while we need to maintain that to some degree, we need to lessen the amount of time and effort we put there, so we can honor these relationships, so we can talk to everybody and really elevate what you can accomplish here. That's the hope. So the big advice and takeaway is, after you kind of figure out what your thing is, and you need to be in the lab to do that, you need to somehow go from more time back of stage to more time front of stage. That is crucial. So as a team, that's where we are now. We're trying to recalibrate how we spend time back of stage with front of stage. Back of stage, oh, that's where relationships are made, like the deep, intimate, meaningful ones that last a lifetime. So I love that. At the same point, we need to have front of stage presence. We need to be able to communicate what we're actually doing, what gets us excited, what gets me excited. I want to share all these things with you right here, right now. And so that's the balance. And so I've been doing YouTube all wrong because I've been trying to promote back of stage stuff and just like, hey, we're doing this cool thing over here. Hey, we're doing this cool thing over here. But what we really need to do, what I need to do, is just say what I'm excited about. That doesn't have to be a shoehorn. I'm not trying to like shoehorn you into the next product or service. Instead, I just want to share what gets me excited, because I know that there's a lot of value there, or at least my hypothesis is that there's a lot of value there, and maybe that resonates with you. And if so, you'll like it, you'll comment, you'll engage, and hopefully we're all better for it. So that's the big takeaway there. And the funny part though is I talked about just where we're spending time on this backstage stuff, on the delivery of cool workshops and cohorts and making products, but that it doesn't end there. The next thing is it's all about sustainability. And we've been burning ourselves out, because not only does backstage not even reach as many people, but it is super time and energy intensive, and we just go from one to the next to the next. And so we've been burning ourselves out here. At the end of every cohort, every month-long workshop that we run, we alternate sabbatical weeks. Like, we need the sabbatical weeks, like a complete week, and that happens 3 times a year that we do just to recover from all the efforts happening here. So we've been on the edge of burnout. And what I did this year, which was kind of a mistake, but also useful, but still we really pushed it. So I'll take you back to the end of 2023, and we were already straddling the edge of burnout. And I said, okay, team, we are not going to do our summer cohort of the Linking Your Thinking workshop. Instead, we're going to keep that time open for who knows what, something creative will I'm surely fill that gap. And so we'll do the one in February, and we'll do the one in September and October, and we'll keep the one in the middle of the year free. 2 weeks later, I was like, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. 2024, we're going to have 4 cohorts, and we're going to have a new one in the middle of the year. It'll be called Writing Original Works. And then we'll have one during, NaNoWriMo, the National Writing Month. Instead, we're going to have our spin on it, and it'll be note making. It'll be a month of note making. We'll call it Note Making Mastery. So instead of doing less, Somehow in 2024, we're doing more. And it was that last workshop, that brand new workshop, Writing Original Works, which is basically how to make writing easy using link notes. I'm so proud of our product that we did for that, like the amazing service that we provided for everyone backstage, but it burnt us out. I mean, just right now, we're just recovering from something that finished about a month ago. That was intense. And it's really allowed me to realize that this type of stuff isn't sustainable. We need to stop trying so hard to get people backstage and just communicate more and more of the things that we care about, that I value, front and center, more consistently with you. That's going to help provide more value to everyone here, but it's also going to help us not burn out so much. This backstage stuff is tough. Now, I'm not saying front of stage is easy, but if we're just sharing from the heart, if we're not worried about perfectionism, like having the perfect delivery of something, that usually happens over here because at that point people are paying a lot of money. They deserve like the best products and services possible. But over here on YouTube, we can just be more loose and provide value as we go. And so that is going to be the new me. That's going to be the new we. That's going to be where we want to go. If we can get into those habits, then we're going to find a more sustainable route. So that's a really important thing. So the big takeaway here is you need to have time to zoom out. We get so fixated on our patterns that we get into, and our world becomes so small and narrow. If you don't have dedicated time to zoom out, you're going to get stuck in these patterns that keep on repeating. And typically, whatever was there, like whatever opportunity, it's not going to stay the same size. It actually might start getting smaller over time because you're just kind of in the same rut. And you're just kind of spinning your wheels in the same rut. Instead, what you need to do is zoom out. And we'll have other videos on this channel. In fact, by this time, I might be able to link to one up here, and it's going to be about an epic wheel of life review. Like, you need to have time to go on a personal retreat and do a life audit and get this like zoom out on your life. Go to a different space, and that is going to lead to so many more aha moments and deeper calm and understanding than simply doing the same stuff that's leading to burnout. I want to dig in a little bit to the feeling of burnout, because if you're someone who watches YouTube, you've probably stumbled across some type of creator that maybe has completely ghosted the platform or has acknowledged that they've burnt out. This thing is real, and it's not just on YouTube, but it's for anybody in this creator economy who's consistently sharing something somewhere. Now, for me, I have a weekly newsletter, and I've been fairly consistent with that. And that is basically my North Star. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Southern Cross, it's that thing that I can look at and make sure as long as I'm doing that, something's working. And so far, I've been able to do that for the most part. Yeah, every now and then I miss a week, but it's been able to mostly work. It's this other stuff though. It's like, I know I have to do another YouTube video, but we're doing this work, we're doing this cohort. So there's this feeling that there's never enough that I can do, and I'm trying to do so much. So typically what happens is I end up drinking more coffee. All right, so I drink more coffee, then I crash in the afternoon, so I have more coffee. But as I'm crashing and everything, like there's this mind game that's happening where I'm like, oh, I'm so low energy and everything feels hard. And there are all these people I have not communicated with. Like, there are so many emails going unreplied to. And when was my last Twitter X post? Like, everything just seems like it's hanging on by a shoestring and some duct tape. And that's just the start. This thing then becomes chronic. It builds up day after day. And you're like, okay, we got to do this thing. We got to do this thing. Another weekly newsletter. And all these things start building on each other. And you're like, when did I last do my taxes? And it's just a horrible feeling. And all that, though, is still okay. It gets worse because then you start to lose sleep. You lose sleep. Energy levels are worse. Now we're more anxious all the time. I'm anxious during the day. Caffeine's not helping with the anxiety or the impulsivity. So now with a lack of sleep, my impulse control is just so diminished that at the first sign of difficulty and the real effort that I want to do, what do? I probably actually go on YouTube and I start watching other videos, right? I just consume something lightweight. And that just makes the problem worse, because all these things I wanted to do, they're still there. I'm just doing this thing that felt easy in the moment. So you can see that there are these vicious spirals that kind of layer on top of each other until, and this is the worst part, you wake up and you're like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I don't want to go on that Zoom meeting. I don't want to do this. And that, it's like, how, you know, it's great to be a creator and be able to share your ideas and have people resonate with what you have to say. But on the flip side, it leads to burnout more often than not. In fact, if you are a creator, at some point you will face burnout. Then the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? And so as a team, we've been straddling this burnout for the past couple of years. And now what are we going to do about it? We've been talking about sustainability for the better part of a year at this point. What are we going to do about it? Well, we fell into some of the same traps. I freed up some time for 2024 in the middle of the year, but then I filled it 2 weeks later with a brand new workshop, a month-long workshop. So I fell into the same trap, the same idea that, oh, I have to do more. I have to like create this new thing. Instead, we're thinking, how can we recalibrate from burnout? What is something sustainable? Not just now, but how can we age gracefully as creators, as people who are sharing services and products for others? What does that look like? We don't have all the answers, but how can we make something that looks more sustainable? So yeah, burnout, it's a tricky thing. There are a lot of sides to it, and there are a lot of techniques, and we'll try to link to maybe a few techniques in the description below that can help if you're experiencing some type of burnout. But the takeaway that I just want to leave you with is that doing more for the sake of more isn't the answer. Doing with intention is going to get you closer to something that is sustainable. So notice, it's doing, pause, with intention. You have to have a pause. So if you want to overcome burnout, make space for space. So if I've been doing so much of this wrong, if I've been doing so much wrong with YouTube, how am I going to make this right? What can you expect from me moving forward on this channel? Like, what can we deliver for you? I want to show up without having an agenda in mind. Like, we do have services and products. I want to show up though and just talk about what I'm excited about when it comes to learning and being a better human being, having better relationships, maturing into adulthood, growing up in the world, understanding what matters, what brings us meaning, how we can seek out and pursue more meaning, and how we can live a fulfilling life. That's what I want this channel to be about and grow into. Yes, it's still going to be about notes and note making. There'll still be plenty of videos on Obsidian, but it's all going to be integrated. It's going to be a holistic view, hopefully, on journeys into living meaningful lives. That's what I want this to be about. I want these videos to be a little bit vulnerable, share these things that I'm like, oof, what if my extended family members watch this? How are they going to react? Like, I want to feel a little scared. I want to just be myself with you and share these things, because once we go deeper into notes and note making, and we think about the intellectual and how that merges with the body or the mind or the spirit, we cover some interesting territory, and that can open up almost like wounds into vulnerable places. And I want to just be more vulnerable. So whatever that form that takes, I want to be able to share those things. I want to be able to share stuff on Jungian psychology every now and then. I find that fascinating. I want to share stuff on the body's fascia and how that connective tissue system is so similar to the connective tissue system of a forest, which is the mycelium from fungus. Like, all this stuff is so amazing. And then the connective system with our notes, what is that? Well, it's the link. The link connects all this stuff. So it's a holistic, integrated view that I'm hoping to share with you in its vulnerable way. And at the end of the day, if you watch a Linking Your Thinking video, you should be feeling internally, I'm curious and this makes me feel more connected than before. If you watch a video and you're like, I feel more curious, I feel more connected, then I've done the right thing. I've done right by you, I've done right by myself. And so that's what you can expect from me moving forward and on this channel. This is going to be a place that hopefully cultivates curiosity and cultivates connection. And if you want to be a part of that, well, I hope you do like this video, and I hope to see you in more, because after 4 years of doing YouTube wrong, I think I'm a little bit closer to figuring out how to do it right. And I hope you'll join me for that ride. So if you've come this far, I would love to hear from you. What made you stick around? You know, what resonated? If you feel up to it, let me know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate that. I think we're all dealing with different forms of this in this age of being on 24/7. So if we can share what's working or what's resonating, that's definitely going to be helpful. So hopefully I hear more from you in the comments. And until next time, stay connected.